Just some good old boys, never meaning no harm. One day the mountain might get 'em, but the law never will. Hey, I was a fan of the Dukes of Hazzard growing up. And you know what? It tells us a little bit about why change is so hard in organizations. Well, rise and shine, leaders. This is Glen Guyton, keynote speaker and cultural futurist, coming to you today to talk about change. Change is hard, right? It's difficult. You are a leader in a workplace and you have trouble shifting the culture, right? You may be a new executive director, a new CEO, a new manager, and you want to change something. But there are people in place that have been in place for years and years and years. There's a corporate culture in place that you want to change, but you find it so hard to make change happen. And why is that? We're all resistant to change, right? We are so resistant to change that it is insane. You know what I like to do? I like to shake things up. You know, sometimes I'll go into a meeting, I'll, stake out my seat. We'll have a conference or a board meeting in a different place, like at a hotel or something. I'll find my seat, I'll sit down, and then, we'll meet for a few hours, and then we'll come back after the break, right? You come back, you have a break, you come back after the break, and you know what everyone tends to do? They tend to go back to that same seat, but not me. I like to shake things up. I like to find a new seat. I like to sit somewhere else. If there are name tags on the table, I like to rearrange those name tags and put everyone in a different position. And you know what? It makes people so uncomfortable. It really does. It makes people uncomfortable because we don't like change. We like predictability. So that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to implement change in an organization. You have an organizational culture, and that culture has been in place for a long time. It's probably been in place longer than you have been in your role. And so if you shift that culture, or if you attempt to shift that culture, you are immediately met with resistance. So now, at the beginning, I was singing that song from the Dukes of Hazzard. And that song, to me, really says a lot about change and how we think about it in organizations. Again, that song is just some good old boys, never meaning no harm. And that's how we sometimes act and think about ourselves in organizations. The good old boy network, right? Some good old boys, they don't mean any harm, but this is how things have always been done around here. And that's what culture is, right? It's how we do business, how we do things around here, wherever here happens to be. And the good old boys don't want to let that go. Now, as a cultural futurist, as a strategic thinker, sometimes the past does not help us. It doesn't help us move forward. It actually hinders us a great deal. But them good old boys, they don't want to let the past go, right? What worked in the past allowed them to get to the positions that they are in, and they hold on to it with a death grip. And in some sense, it creates death for the organization. And so how do we move past that good old boy mentality to get to where we need to go? If you've ever watched the Dukes of Hazzard, one of the things that you see is that it's the same show, right? Episode after episode. Bo and Luke Duke running from, Cooter, Enos, or whatever their names are. I can't remember the names, but they're running from the law, right? They're running from the system. They're running from it, and it's the same show week after week. They get into a little trouble, but again, the sheriff chases him Bo and Luke Duke blow them up with some dynamite. I never understood why the dynamite was better than bullets, but I guess you can blow people up, but with a bow and arrow, but you can't shoot them with a gun. Still seems like deadly force to me. But it's the same show, same thing, episode after episode, pretty much the same thing. They're running from the law, and even the theme song says, "Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will." Right? Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Now think about that in your organization. Like sometimes we're doing just enough to survive, making our way the only way we know how, living in the past, our past paradigms, our past procedures. Those are the things that allowed us to survive. And we're just doing just enough to stay afloat. Is that where you want to be? Do you want to just survive as an organization, or are you looking to grow and do something more? To get beyond that same old cycle that you are trapped in. Are you trapped in a cycle? Are you trapped in a cycle? Are you? Ask yourself that question. Am I trapped in a cycle? How do I get out of that cycle? That's what we want to do. We want to get out of the cycle, right? We don't want to have the same old episode after episode after episode if we're never getting anywhere. Bo and Luke Duke, if you think about it, the theme song says that one day the mountain might get them, right? One day the mountain might get them. This paradigm, this box that they've placed themselves in is eventually going to get them. It's going to come to an end. We don't want that to happen in our organizations. We want to move beyond these self-limiting boxes that we put ourselves in. We want to get out of this circular rat race that we're in. So how do we do that? How do we bring about effective change in our organization? Well, first of all, we have to have this desire, right? We have to have a strong desire to move past the status quo, right? And to say, something needs to change within my organization. Something needs to change. I need a spark. I need something to move these people from the good old boy network to the new place that we desire. We need to respond not to the past, but to the market forces that are present now and the things that are to come. We need to be ready for the future. How do we prepare for the future? Well, you have to have a vision for it. You have to do some strategic planning. You have to think through these things. You have to be motivated and take some risk. Are you ready to take those risks today? Ask yourself, are you ready to take those risks? Is your organization ready to take the risks? Then you need a well thought out plan. You have to have a plan. You have to have some actionable steps and take people through the process. And you're going to have to be gentle with people. Change is hard, folks. It's hard for folks. Now, for me, I like to go and change and come through blazing a new trail because I'm a leader. And maybe you feel the same way because you're a leader. You have a vision, you have a passion, you have that drive, you have that determination, and you want to move forward. And it feels like everyone else is holding you back. So how do you bring those people along? You have to have a well thought out plan. You have to test that plan with the people. And, you have to celebrate some small wins, some incremental wins. You can't take people from here to there. You got to take them from here to here. Oh, can you see that? So you got to go from here to here to here to here to here. And then eventually you will get to there. But it's almost impossible to take people from here to there. You got to take them from here to here to here to here to here to here. And then maybe you can make some jumps. Maybe you can make some leaps. Going back to my Dukes of Hazzard analogy, like the what was the General Lee would jump. It would jump, right? It had those jumps, but you have to get up to speed. You have to get up to momentum. You have to have the right kind of a ramp to go, and then you can accelerate and you can get there. But you have to go through the process first with people in order to make a change. And so then what do? Then you celebrate those wins. Say, yes, we made it. We did it. Yes, we made it. We did it. We're great. We're good. We're going in the right direction. So you have to celebrate those wins. And you know what you're going to have? You're going to have some resistance from who? From them good old boys. Never meaning no harm. That's what they say, right? But the good old boy network does mean some harm because they don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to move forward. They want to hold you back. They want to pull you back to the mountains of West Virginia. I'm sorry, my West Virginia fans. Is that where the Dukes of Hazzard was filmed in West Virginia, something like that? I don't know. But they want to pull you back to the status quo. They don't want you to go over there. They want to pull you back to what was, where they were comfortable. So you're going to have resistance. And so again, you have to celebrate the small wins. You have to bring people along, and you have to be prepared for the resistance when it comes. And nothing overcomes resistance like success. Success will allow you to transform your organization, will allow you to continue to move forward. So make sure that you have some very clear milestones and wins that you can celebrate along the journey. And then once you start gaining momentum, then you go bigger. That's when you can go bigger. You can go faster. You can go harder. You can start implementing things, and you can ride the wave of success. So just realize that change is hard, right? And there are some peaks and there's some valleys along this journey. Changing a culture is not easy because a culture is important, right? It allows us to continue to move and to go along a certain path, to, in some sense, coast and ride that wave. So you have to create a new wave. You have to create new momentum in the organization if you want something to change, and you have to be prepared for it. And if you are a visionary leader, you probably have tons and tons and tons of ideas, but understand that the good old boy network, the skeptics, are not going to be as enthusiastic as you are. So there is always a cost to making changes in organization. There is always a cost. Are you willing to pay the cost? Are you willing to be patient? Are you willing to push through the resistance when it comes? Just understand this. One key thing that I actually read in a book by Seth Godin, thinking about strategic planning, is that change always creates tension. So just be ready for that tension. In order to move toward our desired future, we have to push through the tension of the present. We have to overcome them good old boys, the way things used to be, the current culture, and to create something new. So good luck to you, leaders, as you lead. I am here rooting for you. I hope that you have a well thought out plan. I hope you have the supporters and the team that you need. Make sure you build a coalition of supporters, especially in the early stages. Know who the influencers are in your organization, even those that are maybe part of that good old boy network. How can you get them on your side in order to make the change that will help you live into the desired future that you have for your organization? All right. Well, thank you so much. My name is Glen Guyton, keynote speaker and cultural futurist. Remember that the decisions that you make today shape the future of tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.